Listen, saints, we are all human. If you're not human, you shouldn't even be watching my video to begin with, but okay. We're all human. We all have natural limitations. For example, I am a man, I'm a male. That means I have no female reproductive organs. I can't give birth to a baby. That's a natural limitation. If you're a woman, then you cannot father a child. So that's a basic natural limitation. Other natural limitations are, for example, I have two eyes in my skull, physical eyes. So my physical eyes can only see what's in front of me, what's in the reach of my eye lenses. What's behind the corner, I can't see that. So I would need to put a physical technology, like a physical mirror over there, for me to look at the mirror to see what's over there. So there are going to be visual perspective I don't have. So I won't be able to notice everything about the situation. Obvious. So as a human being, you have your natural limitations, and you should, because you are a creature. Only the Heavenly Father knows absolutely everything and understands absolutely everything. No creature can. So as a creature, by default, you have natural limitations. There's nothing wrong with that. It's perfectly fine. And you should realize this. Because, well, you know it by nature, and this should get through to you. Because society tells you that you need to be independent, you need to take care of yourself, look after yourself, nobody owes you anything. The world talks about becoming independent, but there is no such thing as an independent human being. First of all, your body needs oxygen to remain alive. You need food and water. So on a biological level, you can't be independent. And on a psychological level, that doesn't exist either, because you are a community creature. And you are a spirit being that requires a backup spiritually from the Heavenly Father. So whenever you look at it, we human beings are not independent creatures. We can be autonomous when things go well with us, but autonomy and independence are not the same thing. Independence simply means you can completely be without anything outside of yourself. Autonomous means that you are dependent, but you still are able to make some decisions within that dependency. Now, okay, why am I talking about this? That we don't have all the perspectives is because sometimes it happens to us that we are so stuck in a situation that we don't even realize we're stuck. For example, you may have a situation where a husband and a wife go into therapy. They're going to therapy, so-called to save their marriage. But one of their children, who's only 10 years old, can clearly see that mom and dad don't fit together. The child is not a psychologist. The child is no therapist. The child's sexual development didn't even start yet, but the child can see that sexually you guys don't mesh well because you have weird expectations about each other. The child can clearly see it. But who's going to take the child seriously? Almost nobody. Now forget about the child. Maybe it's an outsider. Some guy you went to school with years ago. And he comes by. And you talk to him about your situation, about your experience with your wife. And he tells you, dog. I'm not talking about the animal, but dog it can be a way people address each other in the ghetto. Or dude, let me say dude. Dude, the guy tells you. Are you sure your wife loves you? Or does she love the expectations she has towards you? And this is a revolutionary question. You never thought about it that way. And then we can reflect back to realize, well, indeed, my wife is only using me to get a good reputation in society. If she could dump me anytime to get with a better man, she would. And once this gets through to you, now you see clearly what was going on. Your wife was already eyeing on another potential mate, and she tried to get rid of you. That's why she was causing all those fights out of the blue. She wanted to get rid of you, but she didn't figure out how yet. So now that you see this, now you realize that you're stuck in a dangerous situation that's about to escalate. And here's the thing, you didn't realize the situation was so dangerous. Why didn't you realize it? Because you were so stuck in the situation. Sometimes you're so involved and so invested in a situation that you realize that you're stuck. others see it. That's why from time to time it's important to allow an outsider who's not involved to see the situation. I'm not telling you to go out there and put your affairs all over the place on social media or just tell any stranger. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just telling you strategically from time to time let an outsider who's not involved see the situation. Depending on which outsider. I'm not telling you to let a demon-possessed maniac who's bitter in life to look at the situation because likely they will check bitterness on it. But let any random stranger without dangerous tendencies to look at your situation because they may see things you never noticed. And too often, this unfortunately also happens to believers. We're so invested and so involved in a situation or with certain people that we don't realize that we're trapped. And here's the thing. If the same thing happens to someone else, we as outsiders can clearly see this woman's out of her mind. Doesn't she realize that the husband doesn't want solutions? Or that guy's insane? Why is he holding on to that whorish wife of his who have already made up her mind to get rid of him? Or maybe you can see someone at work who's a scapegoat. All your co-workers are upset with him, they don't like him, nobody can stand him, but here's the reason why they can't stand him. The guy's looking for solutions. And because the guy has this optimistic attitude, it reflects bad on all those other people who are only complaining. So now they are dumping the issues on him. So you can clearly see that this guy at work is going to end up very bad with him if he keeps coming to work every day. So one day you should just on to him to get another job because you tell him you have more potential than just this job. And the guy takes your advice and he gets another job. Now, the reason you told him to get another job was because you saw it's going to get dirty for him very soon. So you sponsored him, you pushed him to get a better job. He didn't actually get a better job, but he was away from danger. In this case, you didn't tell him what was going on, because if you would have told him what was going on, you may have frightened him, and it may have escalated also. So you were strategic. You did not reveal what you noticed, but you took action concerning what you noticed. You noticed someone was in danger, and you took action to push the individual out of danger without actually causing a whole scene. That's a wise thing to do. You shouldn't always just reveal what you know. And there's another thing that worldlings tend to do well. Worldlings tend to keep their mouth shut if they know too much. Why? Just take an example of the guy at work is targeted. If you would tell the guy at work, listen, nobody here likes you. People just want to blame you for what's going on in their lives. If you would inform them about it, sooner or later people will find out that you revealed the truth, and then the people who are against the guy may all gang up against you and against your household. So then you've put yourself in danger. So that's why you also need to pay attention to people's suggestions. When people are suggesting something onto you and they insist on it, unless it's a recommendation, let's say you have a musical voice and people really recommend you to do something with that musical voice. It's just natural. People recommend you do something with your talent. That's different. But when people suggest something onto you and they're pushing for it, ask yourself, why are they doing it? Is there something they're not telling me? Like there's something they're not telling you. Look, you don't know everything. You're not meant to know everything. That's why as vulnerable spirit creatures, human beings who walk by faith and not by sight. We don't walk by sight because we don't see everything. Okay? We walk by faith, relying on Him who sees everything. So listen, God Himself will not always tell you what He knows, because what He knows may overwhelm you. He just expects you to trust Him. Now listen, sometimes people will not tell you what they know, because if they would reveal to you what they know, they may endanger themselves or it may not serve you well nor the situation. So pay attention to the signals around you. Sometimes it's better for you to become a stranger to the situation you're involved in. That's why fasting and praying is so important. Because by fasting and praying, you become mentally, spiritually, and emotionally distant to whatever goes on around you. And when this happens, you become an outsider for a while of what goes on around you. And being this outsider gives you a better view, a much clearer view of what goes on. So, fasting and praying is quite important. Don't neglect it. And also don't neglect a fellowshipping with other believers, because we can help each other out, and as we should. So, realize the following. Sometimes you need to become a stranger in order to avoid being ruined. Some people remain so long in defective circumstances that the circumstances end up taking them out. This happens to a lot of people that went missing and whose bodies were later found. And then, let's say you have a cold case of someone that went missing in the early 1980s, and their body was found somewhere in the early 2000s. And people figure out this was a cold case, someone went missing for so long, but they were killed actually in 1983, for example. So many of the peers are older people now, and you listen to the peers talking about this woman who went missing, and later her body was found decades later. And you are an outsider who lives long after the crime happens, and you realize, hold on a minute, why didn't this woman just leave her town? Why didn't she just move away from her relatives? Why did she remain in the same situation where there were people with ill will towards her? You can think, why didn't she just leave? Why didn't she, how could she have noticed it? And you're also going to see, why didn't anyone inform her? Why didn't anyone intervene? You're going to see things much better. And you know what? It's good to learn from cold cases. Because I told you before, cold cases are cases that the community doesn't want to be solved. Because if you would solve those cases, it will reveal too much about the community that people can't handle. So learn from cold cases. Learn from cold cases. Sometimes it's better to become alienated for a while from your surroundings so that you can see what goes on. Now, in any case, I don't suggest that you on purpose alienate yourself and become a loner. No, I'm just telling you, go into fasting and prayer. Sometimes just go on a day off to somewhere else so that you can distance yourself from the situation around you for a while. Stop being involved 24/7. That's a trap that Satan will use on you, I guarantee you. Well, that's it for now. Just keep in agreement with Christ and be at peace.